Some of the most meaningful jewelry you own isn't new. It's inherited. A ring from a grandmother, a necklace full of memories but no longer your style. Duke's Jewelers reimagines family heirlooms into custom pieces you'll actually wear and love. Working one-on-one, Duke's designers honor the original story while creating something fresh and modern. Don't let meaningful jewelry sit unused. Let it live on beautifully. Visit Duke's Jewelers in Springville or online at dukesjewelers.com, where old stories become new treasures.
Derek Overstreet, founder of the New Millennium Group. We're a financial planning firm. We have advisors standing by right now to take your call. 888-999-6370. The reason you're going to want to call is we're going to help you retire 3 to 5 years before you thought possible. The way we do this is by putting together a step-by-step plan. So if you're one of those people listening and you'd like a plan in writing, give us a call at 888-999-6370. That's 888-999-6370, or go to utahsfinancialplanner.com.
Down to Scotty G and Friends on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. All right, we said we're going to give Jay Stevens a little bit of a rest. We're going to let him just chill. It's a road trip. We're going to let him relax a little bit. We're not going to get him on the air. We've abused that privilege way too much. And then, bam, just like that, Mammoth go and put the Kings in a chokehold and ended up winning that game, going away. And we're like, all right, we got to get Jay back. Jay, how are you, man?
I'm doing great. I'm glad to be here. Don't ever give me a rest. I love talking hockey.
Yeah, you could look. You can be you can be between the pipes with us anytime. We love it. We appreciate it. All right, so
I appreciate it too.
So that was an old-fashioned butt kicking. How impressed were you with that?
Yeah, not just the score, but the creativity and the absolute offensive brilliance that the Mammoth were showing that night was just so much fun to watch. I mean, we've been talking about it all year, how this offense is just built to be fast and high flying and super creative. And man, it was just on display against the Kings team that's been fighting for a playoff spot. And, it really looked like they'd righted their ship and were going to be a real challenge. It was, the Mammoth were not favored going into that game. So to see them come out and explode like that, and to see those 2 goals that Cooley put in, just phenomenal.
So you're right. This wasn't a game against a team that was just kind of getting ready for their trip to Cancun and ready to shut it down. This is a team that was highly motivated to play and play well, and to do that on their home ice, it makes it even the more impressive.
Yeah, for sure. And like I said, a lot of people just figured the Kings were going to take this one. I think even a lot of Mammoth fans were giving up on the team a little bit based on, what happened with Washington and with Edmonton. So I think it was pretty cool to watch that huge explosion. And that, the creativity, I just was at the practice facility, and I was going to go in and ask Sergachev or Cooley, because, I'm at a lot of the practices and I've never seen them do that. So basically an icing, it's the hybrid icing where Cooley zipped into that puck that it looked, for all intents and purposes, like Sergei had iced it. And Cooley skated right into it, nullified the icing, and just put that in. I wanted to ask, is that something they worked on, or did it just work out that way? Because, man, it was just so pretty. And it obviously caught LA way off guard.
So you go up 3-1, but you also had a 3-1 lead against the Capitals, and we all know how that ended with Ovechkin going nuts. So to see them say, okay, 3-1, guess what? We're going to extend it. And I think it was 5-1 after the second period. What does that say about this team that we're not letting that happen again?
Well, one, it says they're learning from their mistakes, right? And there were a couple opportunities for maybe some more physical play or for some fights or something like that with LA. You could tell LA was trying to do something to get their team back into it. And the Mammoth didn't fall for it. And they weren't going to extend the courtesy of a fight or even getting into too much of the rough stuff and give LA a chance to get back into it, or, more likely take the Mammoth out of it. It's showing some progression. It's showing some maturity. It's showing that the coaching staff really is getting through and making those changes and making those adjustments. Because with what happened in Washington, that kind of exposed to the rest of the NHL that maybe there is a button you can push with Utah and find a weakness with them and throw them off their game. All you got to do is, bang them around a little bit, drop the gloves with a couple of them, and get the hive mad. And they kind of go with that hive mentality. But instead, you saw more of a maturity. You saw they didn't take the bait. So I think it speaks volumes that, it may just be game to game, but they're learning, and I think they're really starting to get prepared for playoff hockey.
You mentioned that you would like to see bare minimum 4 points coming off this 3-game road trip. We kind of anticipated 2 would come against Vancouver, but now you got 2 already on this trip. Now it's time to get greedy, right?
Yeah, I mean, take all you can get. It's a scary situation when you keep looking at those standings. It was nice that Nashville lost the other night. It's nice to have a little bit of a gap, but when you take a second and you look at the rest of the team's schedules, they also have the teams that are chasing Utah have pretty reasonable schedules coming up. So, like I mentioned, LA is playing Vancouver 3 times. So that could give LA a little bit of a push. Seattle's coming up, but the good thing is Utah plays Seattle. Then Utah goes to Vancouver, and Utah actually plays Nashville next week at home too. So there's chances for Utah to take care of their own business, and clean up their own yard, as you want to say. And they're in the driver's seat. So as long as they win, and yeah, we wanted 4 points. I just can't. I can't see them losing to Seattle or Vancouver.
Really?
On the road. I just can't. Like, Seattle's been struggling. Vancouver's been struggling for 10 straight years.
Yeah.
And it's terrible. It's just the weirdest thing up there. They get these amazing goaltenders, and then like with Thatcher Demko, and he cannot stay healthy. And that's happened with a bunch of their goalies that they've had. They get up there, and for some reason something happens, and they just can't keep their starting goalie healthy. So Vancouver's doing what Vancouver does. Seattle had lost 5 straight last I checked, maybe 4 straight. And so with Utah kind of looking like they're starting to peak, if they play like they played in LA, they go into Seattle and Vancouver with that same game, I think that's 4 more points.
Well, I mean, to come out of this 3-game road trip with 6 points would be just absolutely a boon to this team, especially coming off that loss. Is it hard? And, I don't know. Have you ever watched, what's the show, the soccer coach, Ted Lasso?
Ted Lasso, yeah.
Is it, he makes a joke about having the mind of a goldfish where you just forget it. And is that hard to do as a player, or is it kind of easy when the games come at you so quickly?
I've got good news and bad news. Here's the bad news. Most protein bars are packed with sugar and unpronounceable ingredients. The good news? There's a better option. I'm Will, and I created IQ Bar plant protein bars to empower doers like you with clean, delicious, low-sugar brain and body fuel. IQ bars are packed with 12 grams of protein, brain nutrients like magnesium and lion's mane, and 0 weird stuff. And right now, you can get 20% off all IQ Bar products, plus free shipping. Try our delicious IQ Bar sampler pack with 7 plant protein bars, 4 hydration mixes, and 4 enhanced coffee sticks. Clean ingredients, amazing taste, and you'll love how you feel. Refuel smarter, hydrate harder, caffeinate larger with IQ Bar.
Go to eatiqbar.com and enter code BAR20 to get 20% off all IQ Bar products plus free shipping. Again, go to eatiqbar.com and enter code BAR20.
Every day, the world gets a little weirder and a lot more awesome. Cool Stuff Daily takes a look at everything from mining in space to the latest in the fight against cancer to how AI is, basically changing everything. It's all the cool stuff you didn't know you needed to know. Join us for Cool Stuff Daily as we take a quick look at science, tech, and the wait, what stories that make you sound way smarter at dinner. Subscribe to Cool Stuff Daily now, because the future's happening fast, and it's way too fun to miss.
Did you know fluoride is not available in Utah water systems, and fluoride supplements work best from 6 months to 16 years old? A healthy smile isn't just about teeth, it's about health and confidence. Your smile matters. Find resources at yoursmileutah.org.
I sold my car in Carvana last night.
Well, that's cool.
No, you don't understand. It went perfectly. Real offer, down to the penny. They're picking it up tomorrow. Nothing went wrong.
So, what's the problem?
That is the problem. Nothing in my life goes as smoothly. I'm waiting for the catch.
Maybe there's no catch.
That's exactly what a catch would want me to think.
Wow, you need to relax.
I need to knock on wood. Do we have wood? Is this table wood?
I think it's laminate.
Okay, yeah, that's good. That's close enough.
Car selling without a catch. Sell your car today on Carvana. Pickup fees may apply.
Man, it's both. And as a goaltender, that's always had to be your mindset, is that it doesn't matter what you just did. I'll use one of Bill Armstrong's quotes, is that, the rent is high in the NHL and it's due every day. It's the same thing where, like, you just have to have the mentality that I just did this and I know I can keep going. I know I can be better. And if, like, for a goaltender, if you give up a weird one, and we saw Veggie give up a really weird one against LA, not the other night, but the last time they'd played, he gave up a weird one off the boards. And yeah, you have to just say, that was a fluke. That's not who I am. The team has to have that same mindset too. With 82 games, next season it's going to be 84 games. With 82 games, you got to be like, I know I'm not going to be at my best every night. And that's why there's backup goalies, right? Rest, and also sometimes you're not at your best, and that goes for every player. Yeah, you're not going to be your best every night, but you learn from those losses, you learn from the mistakes you made, but you let the rest of it slide away. So yeah, you've got to forget the bad stuff, remember the good stuff, and like good coaches always say, we either win or we learn.
Yeah.
And that's a hockey player's mentality. They take everything they can from the losses just to make themselves better.
So in a season, considering the Olympic break, they've jammed in as many games as they can in kind of a short amount of time. So you don't get a lot of rest, but to be able to go from Sunday to Thursday and have a little bit of a break, how important is it for this team at this point in the year?
Yeah, perfect timing, right? They've got what, three road games and 4 home games left. And they get this nice little break to get everybody healthy. At the skate this morning, I was kind of surprised because I thought maybe with load management and just having this time off, maybe they'd give Veggie the day off. But man, I got there. He was the first guy on the ice. Him and Vanacek went out for they did a half hour of goalie drills before the practice started. The only player not dressed today was Gunther. Everybody else was out there playing hard, and they had a really good spirited practice. And and they were really working on some just minor details. But I mean, Bear was stopping them and making them go over the details. And so I think this break comes at a perfect time. Let's fix these little things that have cost us, cost goals for the Utah Mammoth, and then just take the rest of the day off. And I wouldn't be surprised if they made one of the next practices optional. But again, it's these guys are hungry, they're having fun, and they know what they're chasing, and they want to work on those details. Even when practice was over, a lot of the guys stayed on the ice and worked on little skill things. And there were a bunch of guys on shooting with the goalies and working on skills. So the time off is great, but the Mammoth are not taking it lightly.
All right. So I asked Lloyd this earlier. If you had a kid that you were buying a jersey for, so your son is like, I've got a 14-year-old son, Lloyd's got an 11, where they're just all in on the hockey right now, and you want to buy him a jersey, but you want to teach your kid not to be a front runner, right? You're like, okay, you know what? Dig a little deeper, find somebody on the team. Don't necessarily go your superstars, but find somebody that you can latch onto, like the glue guy or the guy that you really want them to emulate. So eliminating the superstars on this team, if you were to buy a jersey for your kid with that criteria, who would you go with?
Carcone.
Ah,
down.
Nice.
You want to talk about a guy that's not a top 6 guy who, like, I mean, I've preached his story all year because, he didn't get to play a lot last year. It was frustrating for him. He had done everything he had to do in the AHL to earn a spot in the NHL. He was the AHL leading scorer the year before he got pulled up. And to be left out like that, to be super frustrated, he said it with grace that, hey, I'm not going to be here next year. And then he went back home, did some growing up, had a good meeting with Bill Armstrong, got re-signed. and has just come in with the work ethic and the tenacity on the ice. He doesn't give up on plays. He goes in the corners and fights for pucks. He does everything you ask for. So if I'm gonna buy my kid a jersey, I've been saying Lawson Krause all year. He's been one of my favorite players, but he's a top 6 guy.
Yeah.
So if you want to go outside of the top 6, I think it's Carcone hands down, and I think he's going to get, the player awards when they give, like the we used to call it the Little Plugger Award. A lot of and Trevor Lewis won it for a ton of times for just like the Unsung Hero Award. I think you have to give it to Carcone.
I love it. Well, Jay, appreciate it, man. If they look, this is a tradition. If they beat Seattle, we're going to have you on Friday, okay?
Sounds good. I'll be there.
Let's go. There he is, Jay Stevens, host of the Utah Puck Report. He is the guy that has educated all of us on the great sport of hockey. He's forgotten more about hockey than any of us will ever know, and he's an overall good dude. And he'll pull you out of a fire and save your house at the same time, too. Not a lot. Look, hockey player, firefighter, that's a man's man right there. All right, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Coming up a little bit later on, we'll chat with Mitch Harper, get his thoughts on what's going down at BYU. Spring ball in action. We'll recap the NCAA tournament, what we're looking ahead to at the Final Four. It's all right here on The Zone.
Hey, I'm Josh Spiegel, host of the podcast Lunatic in the Newsroom. If you enjoy journalism that drifts into mild panic, wild overthinking, and a guaranteed nervous breakdown, Lunatic in the Newsroom is for you. It's news like you've never heard before. The only newsroom with a panic button. You'll laugh, you'll cry, and gasp in horror as the show spirals completely out of control. It's not just news, it's emotionally unstable. Lunatic in the Newsroom. Listen today.
The sun's shining, birds are singing, and all feels right in the world.
Until the season changes, and suddenly you lose your motivation to get out of bed. In fact, 1 in 5 people experience some form of depression, no matter the season or time of year.
At the American Psychiatric Association Foundation, our vision is to build a mentally healthy nation for all, because we want you to live your best life and be your best you all year round.
Please visit mentallyhealthynation.org to learn more.